Bob Boyle moves with his parents, Norman and Lucy, to a house in New Whitby, Massachusetts. Previously, Norman's colleague Dr. Peterson lived here, who killed his mistress and committed suicide. The Boyle family must temporarily settle in this house while Norman explores the ancient buildings. While Lucy is packing, Bob notices an old photograph of a house with a girl standing in the window with a scared face. Later, arriving in New Whitby, the boy waits in the car for his parents while they receive the keys to the house. On the other side of the street, the same girl from the photo May Freudstein appears and warns him to stay away from this place. Only Bob can see her. At the real estate office, Mrs. Laura Gittleson becomes annoyed when a colleague hands the Boyles the Freudstein keys, claiming that the house is called Oak Mansion, and promises to find them a nanny. The mansion turns out to be in a state of disrepair, and the door to the basement is nailed shut. Soon a woman calling herself Anne appears and introduces herself as a nanny. At night, Norman hears a noise and notices an opening the door to the basement. The next day, he goes to the library to study the documents Peterson left behind. The librarian Mr. Whitley behaves strangely, as if he recognizes Norman, but he assures that they do not know each other. Deputy Whitley says Peterson conducted private research at the house, looking at county disappearance statistics and demographic records. Meanwhile, May shows Bob a tombstone with the name Mary Freudstein and says that she was not buried here. In the house, Lucy, while cleaning, finds another tombstone Jacob Tess Freudstein right on the floor of the corridor. Norman explains that in older houses there are sometimes burials within the buildings. He opens the door to the basement and goes downstairs, where a bat lunges at him. Norman manages to fight back and drive her away. Frightened, the Boyles demand relocation, but the agency says they will have to wait a few days. Norman receives medical attention after the attack. Mrs. Gittleson arrives at the house to announce new housing. She enters the house and stops at the Freudstein's tombstone, which suddenly cracks and crushes her foot. The next second, an unknown person appears from the shadows and drags the woman into the basement. The next morning, Lucy notices and cleaning up a large blood stain on the kitchen floor, but she avoids explaining. During this time, Norman discovers that Freudstein was a Victorian surgeon involved in illegal experiments. To find out more, he goes to New York and goes to the library, where he finds an audio recording left by Peterson. The scientist's frantic muttering can be heard on the tape, and Norman, realizing the danger, throws the tape into the firebox, and meanwhile goes down to the basement, hearing the children's sobs. There, Freudstein overtakes her and dies in the basement. Bob notices the nanny's head and runs away in horror. Lucy finds her son in tears, but does not believe his story. In the evening, the boy goes to the basement again to look for Anne, but the door slams shut, trapping him inside. Lucy hears screams and tries to open the door. At this moment, Norman returns and, having failed to pick the lock, begins to chop down the door with an axe. Freudstein's rotten hand appears from the crack, holding Bob. Norman manages to free his son, and the monster retreats. The couple go down to the basement and find many mutilated bodies there, among them Anne, Gittleson, and other victims. Surgical instruments and a medical plate are scattered everywhere. Dr. Freudstein himself appears before them, a decomposed but living corpse. More than 150 years old, it continues to exist, using the remains of those who once came here. Norman rushes at him with an axe, but the monster parries the blow. The scientist grabs the knife and stabs, but the monster doesn't seem to feel pain. His body remains alive despite everything. Lucy and Bob climb the stairs leading to the broken tombstone. Lucy tries to move the stone, but the monster grabs her and drags her down, where she dies. Freudstein goes up after Bob, but the boy is saved by May, who appears with her mother, Mary Freudstein. They take Bob through the thicket into another world, the world of ghosts.